What up YouTube? I am back with another KVK video. This time 299 is facing off against K210. And surprisingly I actually wake up to being in the lead for once. I do believe this is a first. Now I think about scouting this guy who's sitting at KL, but I don't want to give him a chance to get away. If he doesn't have counter scout on, I figured he probably did anyway, so I just decided I'll jump in and solo him. Obviously this is a no loss KVK, so I'm being even more reckless than usual. Thankfully I do manage to get a win, although only in total troop losses because I lost more valuable troops. I noticed that he's still got troops in KL, so I decided to attack it to scare him out, and I do manage to follow him home. But I unfortunately do not get a rally up in time. Fortunately, he has jumped next to me and decides to put a tracking rally on me. So I decide that I will rally him back if he is willing to sit there. So I bring Covya in at the last possible second, get him to join the rally. He decides he'll go and grab a lord for some extra stats, and he was smart enough not to send his lord out when doing that because he does not get back in time for the rally. But he does manage to grab the lord to give him a little bit of a total attack boost, but it is not enough to save him. And unsurprisingly the rally went a lot better than the solo. Now I normally wouldn't know where his castle went at this point, because when you teleport because you lost a battle within a Great Cities area, you do not get shown the new coordinates, unlike if you choose to teleport away when an attack's on the way. But he didn't cancel his rally, which meant I could find him again. I was originally planning to do another rally hit, but after seeing how many troops I'd already killed, I decided I'd just do a couple solo. And the third one grabs his lord, and then the fourth one just kills whatever troops were left because of reroute. Now, while all that was going on, Covya had been checking out 210, where there are 3 HOH members. Covya scouted a bunch of the great cities and found out that all 3 of them have their lords out. So even though we don't have any scouting reports, don't really know their stats, other than to know that Shihab is Cav, I decide I'm going to jump in and do some solos. After all, what is the point of deathless KVKs if you don't use it to make reckless solo attacks? The first hit goes pretty well, so I decide to send a second, at which point she recalls her lord. Now on my screen, the lord is still walking back slowly from Casterly Rock. Unfortunately, once this attack lands, I found out that was not the case. So while it was still a win, the losses were much higher than previous hits, and she's actually healed troops from her hospital, so some of them were wounded rather than dead. And I am basically out of meat shield at this point. I can see her recalling more troops, and basically I have got just over 1 full march of spears left. So I decided that, you know what, I've had enough of this, I'm going to run away. They seemed happy to sit garrisoning castles, so I hope they will let me do the same. But before I can get settled in the great cities, I get reports of someone else active on 299. Now, we did have a scouting report of her castle, where it said she had 18 million troops. However, her total number of troops and every single subcategory of troops were all a multiple of 2, so I decided to hope that she had a 2 times bluff on and go for a solo. Unfortunately, I was correct. And she bubbles up after that 1 hit, so I decided it is time to go and sit in great cities. Unfortunately, while I'm busy speeding all of my troops into the great cities, someone attacks Covya and I didn't even notice to start with. So I quickly recall everyone home, and I'm trying to recall all of the marches from potentially as well, but it's been really buggy and 2 of the marches aren't even showing up, so it's not letting me recall them. You can see here it says I've got 3 marches out, but there's clearly 5 lines. So I go and look at the marches manually and try to recall them that way, and that isn't working either. Fortunately, this one is on the way to Storm's End, and I want to disband that with Covya anyway, so that'll sort that one out. But for the last one, I have to wait for it to get all the way to River Run. So now that I've got Covya recalling all of his troops, they're sitting right next to me, very clearly ready to send an attack. So what I do is I go through each of the 5 marches and speed them up at the right time, such that they're all arriving home within a couple seconds of each other, so that I can pop a bubble as quickly as possible once all of the troops get home. Just before they're all about to arrive home, another one of their guys teleports in, and I think there's something like 2 seconds between the first army arriving home and the last one getting home, so they're going to have to time it pretty well. Unfortunately, they do send their first march pretty much bang on time to arrive literally a second before my last one gets home, so they get 1 hit in and then Covya is bubbled. At which point they open up a rally on potentially, so I decide that now would be a good point to refresh my game, so I jump down to Dorn so that even if the rally does march, I'll hopefully have a little while to do something about it. My fervor is fairly short, so if I decide I don't want to take this rally, I can just jump to the enemy server, and then I will have time to bubble before they can do another rally. But I only saw 2 of them joining, so I decided that, you know what, I've still got most of my cav left, I've still got my inf left, and they're going to assume I'm spear, so they'll mostly be coming with infantry, I assume. And when I check, that's mostly confirmed. I do have some spears to kill my cav, but not a big deal. So I decided that I will take the rally. It was only partially because he was goading me in world chat, but I decided I will teleport so he can't change his mind, and I absolutely destroy the rally. So I share it to world chat, I do a little bit of goading back in the hopes that he will try again later. And thankfully it works. He poisons his lord, so 1 hour later we all jump back to the same point and he's going to try again, with 3 accounts this time. And I'm pretty sure one person is playing all 3 accounts and that he can't have them all open at the same time because it takes him quite a while to bring the 3rd account over. But I don't want to jump away until that account is locked into the rally, just so they can't come over and start some other solo shenanigans or whatever. But they do eventually pop up, so I jump down to High Garden. Again, just give myself a little bit of time to react to what's coming in the rally. Last time I fronted with Cav against his inf and it went pretty well, so I decided I'm going to do the same again. Unfortunately, I don't have any Cav left, but Covya does, so I bring him down and I'll put his Cav in to tank the hit. And this time, to my delight, they send pure infantry rather than in spear, so I get Covya in. I actually do a garrison and a reinforce. The garrison was definitely not advisable because he just gets absolutely demolished despite countering them, but I do get the reinforcement in time as well, and it's another pretty decisive victory. Unfortunately, I don't get his lord this time, and given that Covya wasted more than 1 million cav on that garrison, I can't do this all day at this point. But he does have enough cav left for at least 1 more. He's game for round 3, so I decide I will be as well. This time I decide I'll take the 800,000 tier 1 cav that Covya was hiding in his shelter. Don't ask me why. It was based on when I was trying to reinforce great cities. They were all that was left in his castle at that point. And I will use those to reinforce the hit, as well as whatever infantry I've got with Covya, hoping that between the tier 1 cav and the infantry that Covya sends and the infantry that potentially still has left, he still won't get through to my spears to do any real damage, which would leave Covya with enough tier 4 cav to send another reinforcement for a 4th rally. Unfortunately, it turns out we're not out of solo range here, so everything that Covya had left at home just gets soloed by the other 2 guys who didn't have to send their lord while the rally is on the way. So Covya is basically out of troops at this point. He's got 800,000 tier 1 cav and like 200,000 or 300,000 tier 4 infantry in Potentially's castle, and everything at home is dead. Unfortunately, they then cancel the rally on Potentially, so we don't even get to get some extra kills that way. And they decide they don't want to do any more rallies, and they go home and sit and garrison some great cities. And I do not have anywhere near enough troops left on Potentially to be attacking great cities. So the event is basically over for me. If I go and sit in a great city, they'll just come and kill me. While they're in great cities, I can't go kill them. So I have, at this point, just gone and started gathering and decided I would just make this video early, and then I don't have to do any work on Monday. On the off chance that I do get into some more action later, there may well be a part 2 to this video tomorrow, or perhaps later today, but I wouldn't be expecting it. So let me know in the comments down below how your KVK went overall, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for some more Alliance Conquest.